Present arms.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arms. Oath.
Thank you very much. I just want to have, before we do roll call, I just want to have a moment of silence for Danbury employee who passed away, Altamy Shipman. She's, I don't know if she's an employee anymore, but she was for several years. So just a moment of silence for Altamy. Okay, thank you. Teresa, can you do roll call tonight, please?
Teresa Busey, here. Rachel Shaleski. Michelle Coelho, here. Kate Canetta.
Kate's here on Zoom.
Okay. Gladys Cooper, here. Lauren Daly,
Here.
Joseph De Silva,
Here.
Bridget Burton, Ralph Pietrafesa,
Present.
Albert Russo, Louisa.
Okay, we have some recognitions tonight.
And good evening, everyone. So we've been looking forward to this for a few months. See some familiar faces in the audience. Good to see them with their children tonight. So we have 2 recognitions and 2 awards. We'd like to acknowledge and recognize some well-deserving students. I want to just start off with thanking those students and their families for being with us this evening. So first award we're going to talk about quickly is about the CAVE Leadership Awards. And then the second one is the Housatonic Resources Recovery Authority Billboard Contest Regional Award winners. So first, we will start with the CAVE Leadership Award. This is something that happens annually. Happy to say that we have principals or leadership from the respective buildings, parents, it looks like, all throughout the audience, and then also our deserving students. So if you could just give me a moment, I will mention all of the CAVE Award winners by school, and then we can individually speak to all of them. So we have Sean Jacobson from Broadview Middle School. Yes, please. Diana Mendieta from Broadview Middle School. Ava Morning from Rogers Park Middle School. Richard Silverblade from Rogers Park Middle School. Anna Talbot from Westside Middle School. Colin Sturdivant from Westside Middle School. Paz Moran from Danbury High School. Scott Gersten from Danbury High School. Jennifer Cedeno from ACE. And Nicole Quisky Gulman from ACE. so if we can, and first let me just say, CAVE Student Leadership Awards program is designed to honor students who exhibit exemplary leadership skills. The award recognizes students who exhibit leadership skills, including willingness to take on challenges, capability to make difficult decisions, concern for others and ability to work for others, and willingness to commit to a project, diplomacy, ability to understand issues clearly, and ability to honor commitment. Please join me in congratulating our students and CAVE Award winners this year. And so if we can have Sean come up and take a picture with the family.
The highlight of your night. Taking pictures with the superintendent.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what school
Sean, can you come back up with the principal to the principal?
Hey, Sean. I don't know who you are.
Okay, perfect. Mom, move on down. Look at you on that cute fancy. Yes, I am.
Do you want to do one just with her?
I am. I know. Come on in.
Terry, you want to come down here with me?
10 years old, that wasn't that long ago. What do we look at? Anybody. I'm good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you there. Richard?
Richard? Yes.
I don't care. Okay. Well, he wants more. Richard doesn't know to go away yet. Richard loves me. Well, and he grew up like little tiny. Hannah. Yeah. But yes, a lot of them I have.
Yeah.
This will smoke right back. So we can, this is for you. Congratulations. You're good. He's coming. He just had to run out for a minute.
Take one.
We can take one with him. Yeah. There he is. Look to that. Awesome. Thank you. Congratulations. Colin. That's what my son. How are you? Good, thank you. Hi guys. Good, how are you?
Paz? Paz the shy one.
Oh, there you go. Congratulations, nice job. You're welcome. Oh, you're in speech, don't worry. Yeah, your speech. We did it out of order. Where you at? Wherever you want.
Scooch in, everybody.
Yep. Look at the one you like. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. You got one more.
One more.
Yep.
Scott.
Scott. Congratulations. You're welcome.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, that's the only reason I don't go to it to sit. I go to walk around and say,
Oh, that's gonna be a great one.
I'm trying to get flattering labels for everybody.
So,
You know nothing about this.
Lots of filters.
Congratulations.
Jennifer?
it's kind of weird.
John? Yeah, Jennifer.
Oh, that was great, yeah.
I don't know, you know exactly what.
Well, just
I
scooch.
took
There
the
we
long way
go.
around a couple of times.
That's awesome.
That's because you haven't met that better.
Congratulations.
Can we do one with all the kids?
We have one more.
Oh, one more.
Yep. And if all the children can come back up and we'll do one with all the children.
Are you guys gonna hold your awards for us?
Thank you.
And next to me. 2 seconds ago, that was a long walk.
That's right, you guys were boxes last year.
You guys are leaders, just find your way in here. It's fine.
Yeah, make a space.
Put your right on your hip, a little to the right. Nice and straight. Look at that.
She's a photographer in her
Look at
spare
that.
time.
Yeah.
Well, you stayed the extra night.
Thanks, sweetie.
Very nice.
Hold on one sec.
Actually, I'm gonna have you scooch in a little bit more.
Yeah, come in a little tighter.
Yep. Perfect. Stop it.
You got it, Mike?
Good.
All right, you guys, congratulations.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, ma'am.
All your memories gone.
Awesome. Okay, so.
But by the time I was coming home, we got it, it was 6:30. I don't know, just like, snort, we're going out.
We have to get back to wrap this one up.
Well, they have to stay for the whole meeting because they got the award, right?
They're definitely not finished yet.
So I just,
Go ahead,
no,
sorry, no, go ahead. You're fine.
so I just want to, for our winners and
I was working for it.
all of our students are being recognized this evening. Your principals have a couple of wonderful things they'd like to say about you before you and your parents leave. And so if you don't mind, I'd like to start with Broadview Middle School with Dr. Edie Thomas. And she has a couple of amazing things to say about her two students. Dr. Thomas?
First of all, I just want to thank you for the opportunity.
Hear you at home, Dr. White. I know you have that musician voice.
She's going to come up again. It's hard to talk about people unless they're with you. First of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to be able to talk about our students. I think that you only hear the negative things that are going on, but this is what is really going on in our schools, and we're just very proud of our kids. So this is Diana. She is a responsible and trustworthy and honest young lady. You can read along with me. Not only is she a bright student, but she has also proven herself as a leader in our building. She volunteers regularly at her local church. She also searches out to help. We do this big project for Veterans Day, and Diana made 30 Valentine cards to give to the veterans. You know, that's a lot of cards. And she's just a genuine interesting in other people. She cares about people, and she is a well-rounded individual. I can't think of a better person to receive this recognition than her and her amazing parents that are back there. So if we can give them a round of applause. Yeah, I know it's done. So Sean. You know, we recognize too that we can't do it by ourselves, and the parents are so essential in what we do. So I'm just proud to see parents here tonight representing their kids. Sean, you can read along too if you like to. Sean is also, you know, I can do this without reading about Sean. I've had, I think, every one of your brothers and sisters, which is quite a bit. His mom's back there, she works for the school. And Sean is just a well-balanced student. He's involved in everything. He's academically, his GPA is like a 98.5 at this point. And, but you got some challenges. There's 3 other kids in the class that you guys keep going back and forth, where we got bets on who's gonna be #1. But we're just really proud of him. He's involved in everything. Just recently, and Sean, this isn't on here, but I know about this. He happens to be a part of Unified Sports, and he decided to create a field day for those students. And he actually had one of the teachers send out an email to all of us telling us we have to volunteer, we have to, telling us. I was beginning to think who was the principal, you know? But asking us to volunteer, he was asking us, and participate, if not donate and things like that. And I just thought that was amazing. He took this initiative on himself to do this, and he's working with one of our teachers. But overall, he is just well-rounded. He's involved in everything. He's in Unified Sports. He's a student leader, council. He has, he's in the rock band. I didn't know you were in the rock band. That's pretty impressive. And then all of a sudden, he is the vice president for the National Junior Honor Society. So you can see what I'm saying. He's involved in every sport that you can think of. He does lacrosse, football. He's all over the place. And I'm just very proud of him. He receives awards every year. We do Student of the Month, we do academic awards. I can't think of a year that you haven't received an award. Yeah, I know, it's been every year, haven't it? So we're just very proud of him. I can't think of a better person, and I'm saying this and I can't say it enough. These are the kids that are in our buildings. So all that other stuff you hear it's real, don't get me wrong, it's real, but this is what we experience, and we want you guys to experience that tonight. So thank you very much. Where's Sean's mom? Dad's here? Yeah, okay, can I stand? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas. So from Rogers Park Middle School, Dr. Zulia.
Take Dr. Thomas's lead and bring the student up with me. This is Ava Morning, and I will stick to my script so that I don't go long because I know I can talk too much. So Ava is and I can't see either, a well-rounded and very active member of our school community. She's an honor student who takes advantage of many of our after-school clubs. She participates in the Social Justice Club, is a member of the National Junior Honor Society, and an active member of Latinos in Action, where she tutors newly arrived English language learners. She was part of a group of our Social Justice Club members who I spoke about a couple weeks ago, who volunteered to participate in a book study and student exchange with peers from our Scotts Ridge Middle School in Ridgefield. You can also find her on stage during our musical theater productions of Hairspray Jr., where I first met her, and in Matilda Jr., our most recent one. Ava is just as active outside of school, where she's a figure skater and takes dance classes. She still finds time to give back to the community, where she volunteers at Hudson Valley Regional Health Center. She participates in fundraisers for New Fairfield community charities supported by the Lions Club, and she also helps her grandfather who has Parkinson's. Super excited to celebrate her. As Dr. Thomas said, we oftentimes hear so much about the negative things that are happening across education in general, and I'm pleased to be here with all of the families to celebrate all the good that is happening. So congratulations. He wasn't this tall last year. So Richard Silverblade is here because along with earning honors or high honors every trimester at RPMS, he has also been nominated for Student of the Month for both math and music. Richard has taken advantage of the many opportunities offered at Rogers Park as well as in our community. He's an active participant in the Math Club and National Junior Honor Society. He's a sports enthusiast who plays Deo and travel lacrosse. He's always willing to lend a hand in both the school and in our community. At school, he volunteers to record our musical theater productions, and at home, he helps a family friend by working in the pit crew during races, another one of his passions, and makes sandwiches for the Dorothy Day House. Additionally, he participates in an organization called Racing to Save Lives. He has been an active member of the Scouts and is now a patrol leader, troop historian, and troop instructor for Eagle Scouts. His Eagle Scout project is painting benches for Hospice Center in Danbury, and he also gives out coffee at Exit 2 during the holidays. So I'm excited to have also Richard here with his family, and I'm happy to honor him tonight.
Thank you, Dr. From Westside Middle School, we have Jennifer Blue.
Alrighty. Good evening, folks. I am the stand-in for Dr. LaBanca today. I'm the assistant principal at Westside, and I am really glad to be here because very often I deal with issues in the building and discipline and behavior and other concerns. So it's really lovely to celebrate students here tonight. So here we have Blondie, Colin. I call him Blondie. That's my nickname for him. This is Colin Sturdivant. Colin is a bright, well-liked, hard-working young man. He is a positive role model who shows kindness and compassion toward others and demonstrates patience and strong leadership qualities. When working with peers, Colin excels academically and conveys a high level of understanding and learning. He pays attention to detail and takes much pride in his work. Colin is an active lacrosse and hockey player, and he even has his own ice rink in his backyard. It's pretty impressive. Colin will be traveling to Europe this summer. So jealous. He's going with Team Danbury to travel and study the impact of sports and wellness on society. The sky's the limit for Colin, and we wish him all the success in his future endeavors. And so, as you know, Westside has 2 academies. Colin is a member of our Global Studies Academy, and then we selected another student, Hannah, who is from our STEM Academy, right? And so here's a little bit about Hannah. Miss Hannah Talbot has consistently demonstrated an unmatched ability to be a leader, teammate, and role model to others in and out of the classroom. Hannah is an active member of her scout troop and a very committed student. When faced with any sort of challenge, Hannah has shown a collaborative spirit amongst her peers that has led to a high level of continued academic success. Her leadership has been exhibited by her ability to provide meaningful feedback to her peers through a variety of mediums. Hannah is an invaluable member of our community and has a limitless future. Congratulations. And Hannah has a poem that just got entered into the Westside Middle School Academy School Literary Magazine just this week. So congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Willis. Next is Principal Donovan, Danbury High School.
Scott, go first. Oh, that's Hello, Scott. Scott may look familiar to you because he's one of our ambassadors that come and talk to you once a month about what's going on at Danbury High School. So he may seem familiar, but that's the tip of the iceberg. Scott is a very dedicated, hardworking student. He's a student body treasurer, National Honor Society treasurer, liaison to the Board of Education, a peer leader, peer tutor, captain of the indoor and outdoor track teams, and a second-degree black belt in martial arts. While doing that, on his spare time, he has achieved a 4.766 GPA at Danbury High School, has been in the top 10 of his graduating class all 4 years, has been on Distinguished Honor Roll 10 times, High Honor Roll 4 times as an AP Scholar. Scott is also the CIAC Scholar Athlete of the Year for 2022 for Danbury High School, which is, out of all of our athletes, the top male, highest ranking scholar athlete. He is also an All-American track athlete. He was named All-FCX second team, was a state open runner-up in Connecticut, all-state honorable mention, and holds the Danbury High School record in the 1,600-meter medley relay. I don't know what that means. What is medley relay? Oh, okay. That's not good. Scott has been actively involved in Danbury High School and has thoroughly enjoyed giving back to his school and surrounding communities. He is well respected and trusted by his peers, and next year we'll be attending Binghamton, hopefully to study computer science. Round of applause. Now I had to beg this one to actually show up in front of people. She's very shy. Yeah. Does not like to be in front of people. She hates talking.
Autographs later.
There you go. Say hello.
Hello, everyone.
This is Paz. Paz is probably one of the best known students at Danbury High School. She is involved in everything. She runs tracks, holds leadership roles, class president, and was one of the lead roles in the school play Sister Act. Nice job, by the way. You were fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
So fun.
What is even more impressive is Paz participates in all these activities while maintaining a 4.5 GPA and taking honors and advanced placement courses. As senior class president, Paz has worked tirelessly to provide the best experience for the class of 22, which, as we know, coming back in and getting everybody back into where we were was no small task at all. She's done a fabulous job for her. Her energy and willingness to put herself out there has been a needed attribute as we transform back in from COVID, and she leads from the front. If we're going to do something, a spirit week of any kind or anything like that, she is the #1 model that we have for jumping on board and doing stuff. If I'm still correct from the last time I remember, Paz will be attending NYU in the fall, hoping to study
being famous.
Okay. I'm hoping this hook gets us some good Broadway tickets because we all know she's going to end up there some way. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Principal Don. Donovan, and last but not least, Principal Weber from ACE.
So Anthony's going to speak on behalf of Jen. At ACE we have a thing called guidance, which is when a student comes to ACE, they get into a guidance group and they really form a kind of a tight relationship with that guidance teacher. It's a class you have every other day, the whole time you're at ACE, with that teacher and the same group of students. So Anthony's going to speak on behalf of Jen. Thanks.
So thank you. Yeah, I can actually speak endlessly, but I'm going to read what I wrote to keep it brief. So Jen here is a shining example of someone who has made the most out of her time at ACE. Entering our school in the fall of 2019 for her second year in high school, Jen was faced with the choice of how she was going to proceed. Thankfully for her and the rest of our community, Jennifer decided to face the challenges that life presented and deal with them in positive and healthy ways. Jennifer found the strength and the courage to grow into a young woman with tremendous character. She is hardworking, a good friend, and a contributing member of her community. She has won countless Student of the Month and Ace of Hearts and Spades awards for overall achievement, warmth, and thoughtfulness, and hard work, as well as high honors during her time at ACE, and is celebrated as one of the best students who has a promising future ahead. With a passion for creativity and the arts, Jennifer looks forward to pursuing a career in this area, and we here at ACE are certain that she will be successful in whatever endeavor she chooses.
Nicole's guidance teacher's not here, so I'll read what Nicole's guidance teacher read. Jen's art is phenomenal. My screensaver on my computer is her art. So Nicole is an exceptionally dedicated, motivated, caring, compassionate, and hardworking student who takes pride in all that she does. Is quick to volunteer for any community service opportunity that she can. She's been a student at ACE since the second semester of the 2018-19 school year. So she's like one of our pre-COVID kids, which gives a totally different perspective to be able to say that in our building. She's consistently been a regular attender at the school, maintaining a 90 to 95% attendance rate each semester that she's been there. While at ACE, she's also received the Ace of Hearts for Caring Award, the Ace of Spades for Hard Work, and has been recognized as a Student of the Month. In addition to her academics, Nicole maintains two part-time jobs. Two. In addition to her academics, she maintains those two part-time jobs and has represented ACE as a member of the Connecticut Association of Alternative Schools and Programs Student Conference Planning Committee. She's also served as the ACE board, one of our two Board of Ed reps for ACE. Another thing that we have at ACE is when students come to ACE, they come to visit, and we want to make sure they kind of get the experience before they make the decision to come to ACE. So we have students do a one-day visit, and the one-day visit requires that an ACE current student becomes a host and models the behavior that we're looking for at the school. And Nicole is somebody who has always been someone I've grabbed and said, you know, I need somebody to be a host, especially if it's somebody who's coming in who maybe needs a little TLC. This is the host that can show people, you know, how to go about their business at ACE and make them feel welcome. So congratulations.
Thank you, Principal Weber, and thanks again to all of the award winners. So next on the recognition, I'm going to push this one to Dr. Seelig. He worked on this project with the City of Danbury, and because of the hard work that was put into this, we now have two students who were finalists that we want to recognize. Dr. Seelig.
Thank you. So this is an award by the Housatonic Resources Recovery Authority, HRA, as you probably know. It is a regional governmental waste management recycling authority. It serves 14 municipalities in Western Connecticut. So they have a competition for students from all the different municipalities are invited to participate in a billboard contest where they're asked to submit artwork encouraging the public to recycle. The theme for this year was Recycle Your Food Scraps and Compost. There were a total of 1,300 artwork submissions to HRA from the 14 different municipalities. and Danbury had 2 winners that received honorable mentions. So there were winners in different grade categories. We had a winner in the 3rd grade category and in the 6th grade category. 3rd grade was Praneeth Sai Vivek Kumar. He attends King Street Primary. He has placed 2nd in the regional contest in the 3rd grade category, but has also won 1st place in our local contest in the city of Danbury for his grade. And his participating teacher is Ms. Jowdy. So, round of applause, please. And our 6th grade winner is Blake Rivetto, who attends Broadview Middle School. He's placed 3rd in the regional contest for 6th grade and has also won 1st place in our local contest in the city of Danbury for her grade. Her participating teacher is Ms. Moore.
And if we have awards for you. And then, of course, we can't have the award without a picture with the superintendent and the vice chair. So if you can, Praneeth, if you can start and meet us over there, that would be great.
I don't think you got it on your phone.
That's okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna send it to you just in case you can get it. Perfect. Yep.
Superintendent, well, just before we move on to that one, I just wanted to say a quick thank you to Daniel Estrada, who was very instrumental in helping us deliver on this one, getting all the submissions in, working with HRA, so thank you.
And thank you to, Danny, and thank you to our winners tonight and families. I want to thank you. It's great to see everyone in attendance this evening. Looking forward to great things from all of you children and all of our kids. You guys are certainly welcome to leave. You're also welcome to stay. But it was great having you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it didn't come out too clear.
Okay, public participation. Teresa, if you want to read the little note.
The board welcomes public participation and asks that speakers please limit their comments to 3 minutes. Speakers may offer objective comments of school operations and programs that concern them. The board will not permit any expression of personal complaints or defamatory comments about Board of Education personnel and students, nor against any person connected with the Danbury Public School System.
Okay, we have one person signed up for public speaking, Emily Cadillas.
Good evening. My name is Emily Pardalis, and I am finishing up my 19th year as a teacher at Danbury High School. I am also a taxpayer in Danbury. I am here to share with you a journey that I have been on. In the fall of 2018, I was moved to G Building, a beautiful, brand new building with a gorgeous view of the hillside and, in the distance, Broadview Middle School. Although the view is gorgeous, the windows do not open. They are welded shut, preventing teachers from being able to regulate the airflow in the classrooms and causing us to be completely dependent on the HVAC system. This is the cornerstone of my alarm, the lack of a healthy environment due to poor air quality. I should tell you that I have been trying to rectify this issue through a variety of communications and collaborations, but I seem to be meeting brick wall after brick wall. I realize that the city owns our school buildings and is responsible for these repairs and to ensure all is in working order. But our system requires that I report this to you first, and my hope is that you will wield your power with the city. As such, I am now here asking for your help. On Tuesday, January 25th, I was out of school with COVID and realized that many teachers in G Building were also out with COVID. I began to question whether the HVAC system in G Building was working properly, so I sent an email to my union representatives. This started what turned out to be a very long and upsetting process. I don't want to take up your good time by standing here and orating every detail of this process, but I did compose a timeline of the over 30 steps I've taken since January, as well as a narrative that provides you with more details for you to review and process when you deem it appropriate. Mr. Ross is now handing them out for me. My goal tonight is simply to let you know what my life has been like seeking the simple goal of fresh air and a healthy working environment. There are really two issues here. One, air quality in terms of viruses, specifically COVID-19, and two, air quality in terms of carbon dioxide levels. The first issue was attempted to be solved by the district providing air purifiers to teachers. I have provided pictures to you and to the district of the air purifiers blinking green at the beginning of the day and bright red by the end of the day. So, while we appreciate the air purifiers, we are still questioning whether they are working at a capacity great enough to provide a safe environment. Incidentally, these self-same machines are quite loud. As we have been working with students who wear masks, it is already difficult to hear them, but this increase in ambient noise exasperates that issue. The second issue has not been resolved at all. A flow of fresh air
You're reaching your 3-minute mark.
in order to keep the carbon dioxide level from going up class after class. Teachers have reported that the air quality in the morning seems fine, the air seems to be flowing, and the classrooms are definitely cooler after sitting vacant overnight.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but that is your 3 minutes. Thank you. Is there anybody else who has not signed up that would like to speak? Okay, thank you. Ralph, can you make a motion for the consent calendar?
Sure, I'd like to make a motion that the Board of Education approve the items on the consent calendar, exhibits 22 through 58 and 22-59 as recommended.
Second.
Seconded by Joe. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay? And so moved. Are there any educational or staff representatives? Dr. Zalita or Aaron Daly? Student representatives?
Good evening, Board of Ed members, cabinet, and community members. Thank you for allowing me to
present and speak on behalf of the Alternative Center for Excellence. ACE will continue to host prospective DHS students until May 17th. A total of 29 students were scheduled to come in for a one-day visit to experience our program. Interviews with prospective students and their families will take place on Saturday, June 11th with the ACE staff. This Saturday, May 14th, from 1 to 4, ACE will be hosting a barbecue to celebrate our founder, Joe Pepin. The day will also include activities for kids such as a bouncy house and face painting, as well as time for alumni and staff to share stories and special memories related to Joe and the ACE experience. Joe Pepin t-shirts will also be on sale on the day of the event. Next Thursday, on May 19th, ACE will host its annual Wellness Day. Presenters will be coming to ACE to meet with students to discuss various careers, healthy living lifestyles, and each student will select 4 presenters to attend during the morning at ACE. Topics will include culinary, yoga, boxing, art therapy, drum circles, healthy relationships, and mindfulness. After lunch on May 19th, the top floor of ACE will be open for staff and students to participate in our school-wide Renaissance Fair. The fair is organized by humanities students Joanne Tolles, Melissa Lasky, Daniela Esposito, Kyle Tricola, Ashley Honaker, and Alyssa Walker. Thank you, staff and students.
From June 1st to the 3rd, the 58 students go on the Whitewater rafting trip. The trip is organized by Anthony Hellman and will be chaperoned by Anthony, Kyle Tricola, and Ashley Honaker. Students will experience 2 nights of camping and a wonderful day of rafting 15 miles down the Hudson River. The ACE Coffee House is set for Thursday, June 9th from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Hatters Park Pavilion. The night is organized by English teacher Joanne Tolles and her poetry students. The event will see ACE students and staff read original pieces of work in musical performance by Kyle Tricola's Music Appreciation class. This year is the ACE graduation. Wait, I'm so sorry. This year the ACE graduation is set for June 14th at 4 p.m. and will be in the Broadview Auditorium. Thank you, Dr. Thomas and Broadview, for being so hospitable and allowing us to use your venue. Thank you for allowing us to share what's going on with our ACE family down at 26 Locust Avenue. Stay safe and remember, yeah, that.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Kate.
Good evening. My name is Tina Nagel, and I'm this year's BOG Vice President.
I'm Scott. I'm the treasurer.
Scott and I are also officers on this chapter's National Honor Society, and the induction ceremony for the 2022 to 2023 National Honor Society will be held on Monday, May 16th at 7 o'clock at the DHS Auditorium. So, since we're both seniors, we're very excited, but sad that the year is over. And here are some dates for the end of the year. June 6th will be Senior Awards at 6 o'clock. June 8th is the last day for seniors, which will also be our Six Flags trip. June 9th is our graduation rehearsal and also Senior Fest. June 10th is early dismissal, cap and gown distribution. June 13th will be another early dismissal, and graduation starts at 12. June 14th will be another early dismissal ring date. June 15th is the early dismissal tentative date for our graduation. And June 17th will be the early dismissal last day of school.
Junior prom is this Friday. Tickets are being sold this week and is being held at the Portuguese Club. Senior prom is 2 Fridays from this week. It'll be at the Amber Room, and we'll be selling tickets for it next week. And lastly, community change projects for career leadership class either kicked off or will be kicking off in the next couple of weeks. Projects like kickball, dodgeball, cornhole tournaments, bingo nights, and other fun events. That's all. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Scott.
Okay, moving on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, thank you. So we have quite a few updates and also some amazing news to announce. But we'll start with City Council budget update. We had the mayor's budget proposed and approved by the council. And so Mr. Spang has some updates regarding next steps for us as a cabinet, but also as a board, and some other news.
Thank you. So as you know, last week, when the City Council adopted all of the departmental budgets, they followed their ad hoc committee's recommendation, which was to endorse the mayor's budget of, for us, of $141 million. You'll remember our board budget was $152 million, and so after that we've gone to work. The administration, the cabinet, we're putting together some ideas. We're going to come in front of you with some recommendations at your first June meeting. It's June 8th. That's the same time last year the budget was brought to you to make some decisions. And just to be a little more specific, what we're doing now is we're taking a second look at what we put together, it was back in December. And we know a lot more now than we did then. We're taking a fresh look at enrollments with better information now. We know more about some of our costs as we get closer to July 1st. Some of the labor contracts that we estimated and thought we knew how they'd come in, now we have them in. So we'll put all that together and, as I said, bring you something at your first June meeting. If I may, while I'm here, I'd like to also just say a word about the audit and some of the publicity that received this week as it was connected to our budget. And a few things briefly. If anything, there's not a school audit. What's going on, the city is putting together its annual financial statements. It's a 204-page document that covers all of their financial results of last year. And I would just, I'd like to preface things this way. Some of you may know this. I myself started my career in business as an auditor. I was an auditor for 2 years, a corporate Fortune 500 auditor. And after that, I became an internal control coordinator for the Anaconda Company in Waterbury, dealing with all of their audits, writing accounting policy and procedures and things like that. So I say that because I understand, I've always understood what auditors do and what they need to do, and have always been able to talk with them about the tasks they're trying to do. It was either late February or early March. We've been having some regular Zoom meetings with the audit committee and city finance officials, and we were led to believe that we were finished with all of the requirements that were necessary. In fact, the only item the auditors were looking to have finished at that time was a thing called compensating balances. It's a section in here. It's something the city puts together. And at that point, the auditors were discouraged from finishing. They were told that the city needed to finish the mayor's budget. It would take about a month, and they could come back then. And so we didn't think we had much of a role at that point. Thought we didn't hear we had to do anything. And about a month later, when they came back, we received a list of what was then 18 items to finish, things like copy of bank reconciliation or, typical, normal kinds of things. They need to put their statements together. On May 6th, that list turned into 21 items from 18 items. And I can report to you tonight that of the 21 items, 20 of those have been completed. We've submitted them to we've engaged a municipal auditor ourselves to look over our work and make sure those items that we put together pass muster, are correct, and almost as importantly, don't need to be done a second time. I expect all those to go over to the auditor's portal. It's all remote this week. The one item that's not done, we had a telephone conversation today, had to do some paycheck sampling that they asked to do back in September. We asked them if we could have the request again. They didn't have it, they couldn't find it. They said they would give us a new one as soon as they put one together. So that's the only item we think we have to finish. Now, but I think just as importantly, we're doing a self-assessment ourselves. We're looking inwards and going to determine what went wrong and why. How did we get to this point? And with what happened, what are we going to do differently next year? What type of steps, I'll call them corrective actions, so that everything's done on time and we don't get here. And with that plan, we want to share that and sit down with the auditors and say, here's what we think we need to do differently. What do you think? Will this work? Will this make it better? Because it's always been my experience. I've been audited for 30 years at least by some of the top firms in Connecticut, and it's always been collaborative. They really are partners of ours. They're there to help us, and I want to make sure we have that relationship that they could help. Usually they welcome things like that, but I think we'll put together something that works, certainly share it with you when we have it. And so that's what's going on.
Thank you, John.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And a quick question. So we have a finance committee meeting coming up.
Yes.
Are you gonna go over the stuff that you're proposing to present to the board after?
Yes,
you
yes,
got them?
we'll have an update, number one, on the audit. But then secondly, we will walk the finance committee through anything that we're going to propose to the board on June 8th, that first board meeting in June. Yes, but that's what you're asking, right? We're going to walk through the committee first, absolutely.
Could I add?
Yes, please.
That one item that's not completed, do you have any idea when that's going to be completed?
The issue, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, we're waiting for, what they do is they'll come in and they'll sample some payrolls, and they'll just randomly take some paychecks. They'll trace that through to everything. They'll look at the labor contract and see if they're paid on the right step. They'll look at in their personnel files and see if they have their W-4 filled out, and was the direct deposit right? They trace things up and down the continuum. And as we said, could we have that request again? And they couldn't find it. So I said, we'll give you another one. I hope it's in the next couple of days, because until we get it, what they want us to do is, because now everything's remote, they'll want us to make copies of their appointment letter or their W-4 or their something else that's in their file, and we'll scan that back to them. So I'm hoping in a matter of days.
If I'm out of order, please stop me. To me, the communication and what came out as far as statements from the city side, making the board, to me, look like we didn't know what we were doing in leadership. And to me, I feel like there should have been some type of communication. And understand if you guys have been working so long together and putting the budget together, to have some type of discussion before that type of information came out. So you're telling me you start off with 18 items, they found now to 21, so now you have everything all taken care of except that one item. And then to me, it should be a clear statement that the board is in compliance. That's the word I want to use.
You know, there have been hundreds, I'm not exaggerating, hundreds of documents that we had provided to them. You know, when things are done remotely, as they've decided to do, they can't, you know, it used to be they'd come in and say, you know, let us see the labor contracts, and hand them the books that keep as long as you want, bring it back before you go home. Now they want to see things, or if there's a bank reconciliation, you email it to them, they'll email you a question of something they don't understand, you email back, and the whole thing is just much slower when it's remotely than when it's here. The questions take longer, the explanations take longer. Throughout, really in September and October, there were many documents that we sent. That normally they ask for, nothing unusual, nothing, you know, they put these statements together the same way every year, and their audit requirements, they have to have certain backup and documents in their files.
Thank you.
I agree with you, remote. Some things are great remote, some things are not. Who made the decision to do this remote?
I don't have the answer. What's going on when I got there?
And perhaps that was a mistake. And I'm guessing it wasn't us that decided to do it remotely.
No, it's a city contract, and honestly, I think they weren't the only firm, and I think a lot of audit firms, when they found, like most businesses, they had to try and do things differently. It seemed like a good idea at the time, and it was the best possible thing, but just as you got further into it, there were things you learned that...
Everything remote takes longer.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's it.
Teresa, Michelle. Connection with the last part, how many people, employment records do they look through? I mean, is it 1, 2, is it a dozen? I mean, is it just random?
Yeah, they have a sample size. I'm not sure how many they take to satisfy themselves. You know, I don't really pay that much attention to them. We just say, you know, here's our stuff, tell us what you need. If it were a dozen or 2 dozen, it's...
I was just worried about the time constraint.
Do.
I was worried about the time constraint, you know, how much information for how many people.
Yeah. Like I said, they have requirements to do their work. The AICPA says you have to do this, this, and this, and you have to have this and that. So I think they were, I don't have any reason to think they were doing more or less than they normally do. But it was different, you know, with COVID. You know, and a lot of the, what I'm learning is, you know, we changed systems during the middle of the year. I don't think that, honestly, that project was led properly. Some decisions were made that we're now trying to piece together. Where they're asking for, and we've done it, but they've asked for details from one system that agree with the total from the other. You can do that, but it's a step-by-step process. They asked us just this week to demonstrate how the 2 systems were brought together in July of 2020. But people who did that are gone. Don't know if they left records behind. But we put something together that we think does it, and we've sent it. We think we have it. I think if they were here, that would sound like a broken record, because, well, here's this and this, see, they match. It's a little different.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I just want to make sure. The 21st item, this paycheck.
Yeah.
Was it, you're saying that that you received it in September and you're asking them to resubmit it? Or,
Well,
because it
they-
sounds like it was
they
sent to
said,
us and we're asking them.
When the list of 18 came, it was the second item. It said, we had asked you for this back in September, and you still haven't got it. I had been here 1 week. They didn't ask me anyway, they asked someone in another department. So I said, could I see it again? You know, I'll finish it. And they couldn't produce it.
And what
So
about?
we can't find it.
Okay, and what about our,
She didn't have
end?
any record. She didn't.
I see, she didn't have it.
So it couldn't be located on either
Yeah,
end.
that's what I'm saying, like on our end, we could.
You would think with email, there'd be something.
So,
I'm assuming that's-
so I'm playing catch up, so this started before you got here, is that what you're saying?
It starts right in July of the year.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions?
Thank you.
And so the next one is the CAVE legislative wrap-up. This is a two-parter. Mike is going to speak to both. The second part about Ryan, but Mike, can you take this one? I know you attended the CAVE meeting yesterday.
Sure. So it was a busy session for schools, and CAVE gave us a wrap-up. It's about 16 pages. There's a lot in it, so I tried to distill it down to what I thought was the most relevant stuff for the district, and kind of give you the greatest hits here. So the big bill was the funding bill. It was HB 5506. This was kind of the, your Christmas tree bill that had all this stuff kind of attached to it. So the good news coming out of this is Alliance funding is going to be authorized through 2028, so we get to 5-year extension. Now, one of the things we had hoped for is that it would be accelerated 1 year, and this was going to be Bill HB 5283, which did not pass. That would have helped us net about $2.7 additional by advancing the Alliance funding. That bill didn't pass, so that was a little bit of bad news for us. That was one we really got behind. We actually provided some testimony written and in person in Hartford, and we're a little disappointed by that one. But 5506 still has some good news in it. So construction in particular, it was passed that there's going to be an 80% reimbursement for construction on the $154 million for the Career Academy. Now that's really good news. That means that $123.2 million of that 154 will be reimbursed by the state, which means that whole $154 million, we don't have to come up with about 30.8. So that's pretty good news, and that'll get us to the 154. And naturally, that 154 would have to fall within the acceptable expenditures, and then any money beyond that 154 would not be reimbursed. So that's good news. Also in that bill was $150 million in HVAC reimbursement grants for air quality. That'll range on anywhere from a 20 to 80% reimbursement based on city population with some wealth. The second big bill that went through was SB1. There's two big SBs, SB1 and 2, and you always know when they have low numbers like that, but they came in as real high priorities for the governor. So SB1, and that one is actually titled An Act Concerning Childhood Mental and Physical Health Services in School. So this is there's a lot coming down the pipeline for childhood mental health and physical health services. This includes grants to early childhood service providers and grants to hire and retain more social workers, psychologists, counselors, and nurses. They recognize that this is also a pipeline problem, so there's provisions in there to sort of increase the pipeline of people coming through. SB2 is also focused on mental health. This one is actually titled An Act Expanding Preschool Mental and Behavioral Services for Children. So this is a lot of money coming through with mental health. There's going to be a mandate that districts hire a mental health coordinator. Included this is May 26th is going to become Get Outside and Play for Children's Mental Health Day. So who knows, we may get some old-fashioned paper sack races or something. So number 4 is HB 5001. This is also about mental health. It's going to provide grants for school-based mental health services. And it will require the adoption of a truancy intervention model in schools. And the fifth one is probably most relevant to this body. It's two-named right now. It's PA 22-3 and HB 5269. This will allow public agencies to continue to hold remote and hybrid meetings. Originally, that was going to sunset, and they decided to allow it to continue. And naturally, there's a spider web of caveats and special rules that go into this, which leads me to the next point, which is each one of these has layers to it, and like I said, there's 15 pages in here, and I just gave you a sort of high level. So we're going to be inviting our lobbyists from Sullivan Lashane to come in a future board meeting, and they can really dig into some of the more details. And a lot of these, they haven't written rules yet. They haven't decided how they're going to do grants, if it's going to be reimbursements, if it's going to be competitive. All that stuff is still getting worked out. So as that becomes more clear, Ryan and Zach from Sullivan Lashane will come and tell us a little bit more about it, and we can figure out how best to position ourselves to go get some of this money.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Any questions regarding the Cape legislative wrap-up? Yes, please.
Question about the HVAC. Would that help Ms. Cardelis?
I think it would.
Wonderful.
Ralph?
Yeah, that's basically a summary of the stuff that you have.
Yeah.
Can you guys send that to the board?
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
We will have a wrap-up for the board that everything that Mike just read.
Yeah, I'm just trying to play catch up. There's some new things coming out, some new titles, some new faces.
Can't wait for that meeting next week.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. I wish we could do it today, but anyway.
You too, right, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm good with that. I don't know if I want to stay in the office though. And so, I'm sorry, any other questions regarding the wrap-up? Michelle, did you have one? You okay?
It's okay, we'll wait for the wrap-up.
Okay. And so, the next one, Teacher of the Year, Dr. Seelig, why you have the floor?
So Teacher of the Year, we're back doing Teacher of the Year right now. So nominations open on April 5th. They closed on May 2nd. All of our schools submitted one teacher that they thought was exemplary. Now, those candidates are going into a process with the schools chiefs and a small committee, and from that list, they will be determining a District Teacher of the Year. Save the date emails have already gone out to all the nominees. We expect that Teacher of the Year to be finalized by about May 13th, so just a couple days from now. And we had a little shift. So originally we were going to be doing the Teacher of the Year for the district on May 18th. We had a little conflict with one of the NEA dinners, so we decided to push it back to May 24th. So it's going to be at Broadview Middle School. Everyone is invited, and we hope you'll all be there to recognize all the nominees and 22 Teacher of the Year. This person will then go on to Hartford to be considered for the 23 Teacher of the Year. They do it kind of 1 year staggered. So they'll be in the running for that, and yeah, we have high hopes.
Absolutely, and we will have all of these school representatives on our website tomorrow. So all of the individual representatives from every school, they've already been informed, of course, but the entire district is not aware of those winners. But all of those names will be posted to the website. But if you give me a moment, I'd like to take a minute to share who those names are. So Allison Safford from Pembroke Elementary School is the Teacher of the Year at Pembroke. Barbara Stewart from Mill Ridge Primary School. Caitlin Palinkas from Ellsworth Avenue School. Cara Battaglia from South Street Elementary School. Kathy Berman from Haystown Avenue School. Daniela Esposito from ACE. Donna Shore from Stadley Elementary School, Doreen Chernisky from King Street Primary School, Elizabeth DiResto from Shelter Rock School, Emily Lopes from Rogers Park Middle School, Gwendolyn Davison from Danbury Primary School, Heather Muller from King Street Intermediate, Jamie Pope from Broadview Middle School, Joseph Giuseppe from Westside Middle School Academy, Lori Woodruff from ACE Magnet School, Luisa Guadardo from Park Avenue School, Melissa Gabriel from Morris Street School, Melissa Teal from Danbury High School, and Michael Flynn from Great Plain Elementary School. So please join me in, I know they're not here, but applauding our winners. And looking forward to May 24th to decide who the representative for the entire district is going to be. Looking forward to that evening. then the next item, I'm sorry, were there any questions about the Teacher of the Year update? As I see Kara and Kelly smiling about all the names we just mentioned. Yes, for sure. Superintendent goals update. We have 2 items here. One, fiscal responsibility planning for growth and talent acquisition. This is goal 3. Sub-bullet, Danbury Career Academy Task Force. Before we go to Dr. Casimiro, I just wanted to say one of the superintendent goals speaks to partnering with the city of Danbury to begin to plan for the reality of Danbury Career Academy and the moves and investment that it's going to take to successfully open up that building in 24-25. And so we had our first meeting, task force meeting, I believe it was 2 weeks ago. And so it would be the first week in May. Our next meeting is scheduled for the first week in June. There are a couple of members of the task force who are not available, so we are looking to find a date. But the plan right now is May and June we will meet. We will reconvene again in September and continue to meet monthly as we continue to investigate and plan for this challenge ahead together. And so the task force is made up of 2 council members, 2 people from the mayor's office, including the mayor, 2 board member representatives, and then I have 3 cabinet members, the assistant superintendent to my right, Dr. Casimiro, Kelly Trucius, and the chief operating officer, Mike Seelig. And first meeting was great. We felt like it was important to provide some context for the task force. And so that context, as we were planning these sessions, we realized everyone in the task force did not understand how this started and the rationale behind the academy, what was driving the actual 6 academies that we landed on. So Dr. Casimiro provided that initial overview for the task force, and not very different from this board. I think the task force was also equally engaged on that evening, and so if Dr. Casimiro, our board teacher, can walk us through the task force meeting last week, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Sure, good evening. So in your packet tonight, you do have the PowerPoint presentation that was shared with the task force on May 4th. And so I'm just going to talk briefly about the highlights as touch points. As Kevin mentioned, it was important to go back to sort of the beginning, the conceptual beginnings of where we started with this, recognizing that we were, now speaking with folks who only really knew it as, really a school, and how did these academies come to be? How were the different academy types selected? So we took our time to go back to some of the research, but the very first, one of the most important tasks that we had to do that night was to make sure that we were clear on the purpose of the task force. So why we're, getting together and having that collaboration. And that really was to, build that shared understanding about the process of the development and the funding that we needed for the academy, and make sure that the communication line was open and that we were meeting on a regular basis. So that was really, really the key. We did talk about how this would fit into our mission and vision. We spent some time discussing that, along with identifying the different career clusters that are available, that were being promoted, not just nationally and regionally, but the ones that Connecticut identifies, that are also really much the subject matter of lots of discussion with the mayor's budget, on the different agencies of the state of Connecticut, and how there's lots of partnerships growing around these 12 Connecticut career clusters. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing. You do have it in your packet. We talked about the programs of studies and how and what that is, the concept of those. Some of those things went a little bit in the curriculum committee, and also what an industry recognized credential is, and why those would be advantageous to our students, and how those fit into the academies and the pathways as well. And then we talked about the concept in terms of the coursework and the rigor, like small learning communities, and the importance of developing an advisory board and community partnerships with businesses. And then growing that out is really provides the foundation for the academies, not just at the beginning, but in years to come. And we saw what that looks like in other communities where this has developed. It's quite impressive. One of the best examples of that is the partnership called Pencil down in Nashville, where we learned just how elaborate and developed these partnerships are, and how much communities will sponsor and support the academies, recognizing that We are producing students who will likely go back off to college, develop an interest to go off to college or school or career, and come back and live in the community because those opportunities have been made known to them, those relationships have been established, and so it's just a wonderful concept all around. We went into the pathways from the trajectory and the flow of learning from 9th grade to 12th grade, and then we spent some time talking about the academies that would be located on the new site versus Danbury High School site. One of the most important things to point out was that this was just not about a building, and that this was a concept and a transformation of teaching and learning in the way that we were organizing our high school, and that Danbury High School is very much a part of this transformation, and that it didn't just live in the building that we're building. And so I think that was an important point to make, and I think that by the end of the night, I had a common understanding of that, so that was good. And we showed some great pictures of some of the concept ideas in the space that it will likely look when we get done with architecture plans and scaling and drawings, and when they start to actually break ground inside the building to build it up. So it's actually a very productive meeting. We ended that meeting with identifying proposed agendas for the next couple of meetings. So in June, program and pathway partnerships, to talk a little bit more about individual pathways. In the curriculum committee, we kind of did a little bit of a deep dive into one of the medical technology pathways, just to get a little snapshot of what that looks like. September, we'll be doing more discussion around the physical building plans and the construction process, and that starts to become really more refined and ready to share. Start talking about the staffing, and that's really a key piece. As we move into this, what will it take to staff and open that building? So building the building is one thing, staffing it, making sure that the resources are on both sides and in place, and in our current high school are going to be very important. Transportation and food service needs, and then updating the enrollment, which also is a very key part of our budget development process. So it was a very good meeting, and we look forward to the next one, June TBD, so we can update every year.
Thank you, Dr. Casimiro. Teresa?
Question, was there anybody from WestCon on the task force? Or had been invited? As you know, I've worked many years at WestCon, and I was always appalled that there was everybody was distinctive silos. And I think a lot of our students graduate, go on to WestCon, and being a partner in the community, I think it's important that they should be on the task force. And also, I had expressed this in the curriculum committee, the Art and Engineering and Design Academy, I think it should really, the art piece should be renamed Visual and Performing Arts to be more encompassing of the theater and music department as well as the visual arts department. That's my 2 cents.
So I'll just say something about the task force. The task force, and I think there will be plenty of opportunity to engage WestCon and other partners in the city. The purpose in which Kara had opened with, and that was, this purpose is the sole purpose of this is to partner with the city to talk about funding to open up 24-25. And the academic experiences for kids, there certainly may be some opportunities to connect and partner with WestCon and other institutions of higher learning. But specifically for this task force, it's a one agenda item, and that is we want to make sure we're on the same page with the city and partner in a way where they understand enrollment, understand our enrollment projections, understand our need for more staffing to open up not only a high school but also a middle school. And so given that specific agenda, the request was to keep the task force tight to make sure that we can focus on these specific items. And then once we get some commitment and investment, we can revisit. I mean, at the same time, Kara is working on the academic experiences piece with the new Director of Academy Partnerships. That's certainly going to be helping, I think, to address some of the things that you're talking about, Teresa. But Kara can speak to some of those things.
Just want to,
Because that is happening, it's just in a different lane, that's all.
As part of the model, it's important to have an advisory board of community members and business members, and certainly university representative, the part of the university partnership be a perfect member on an advisory panel for, that would work directly with the school and the community. So it's a fun take.
Totally agree.
Yeah, keep it close to the first step.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, I'm Michelle.
Will Sites and Facilities Committee be involved at the ground level when you are going for?
Excuse me, Michelle, we can't hear over
Yeah.
you.
Couldn't hear you say, yeah.
Because we want to hear the question too.
Sure, I
Thank
got
you.
it.
Okay.
So, I'm just gonna speak, okay. So will Sites and Facilities Committee be involved at the ground level as far as the construction of the building and all of the, that aspect of it? And how do you, I'm not sure what board members are on the task force, but is it just gonna be those two members, or will we have an opportunity to participate in that process? Not just have it presented.
So the board member, thank you.
I'll take it. So we have two board representatives. We will probably have to talk soon because one of those seats might be open really, really soon. And so we will have to backfill one of those two seats and make a decision about that. So we'll speak to the board chair. But the ask was, as part of keeping the task force tight, it was two representatives from the board, which is consistent with Mayor Mark's 2020 task force years ago. So we had two board members, two council members, and I believe it was Mayor Mark and it's someone else also from his office. In this case, I think it's three because Antonio is also on the task force as well, which is certainly appropriate. But to your questions about the sites and facilities, so we did have one meeting with sites and facilities when Antonio came in and gave the overview and just said, hey, here it is. But Antonio will be back because with an approved bond referendum, if that happens, there are significant projects on that agenda. And I don't remember where we left off in our last one, but our chair for sites and facilities is here. Lisa, I don't know if you had some thoughts.
Can I just, yeah.
I think you have to press both at the same time. Same with me.
Speak loud.
All right. Is the buildings committee that the city council voted on, the task force, is that one and the same, or is that two separate?
Separate.
That's separate?
It is separate, yes,
Okay.
it is. Yes, it is.
So yes, on our agenda, on the sites and facilities, we will be adding, the career academy on a regular basis. So we will be having up-to-date discussions on that as well, as also the building committee that was just approved for City Hall. So we'll be working with that as well. So as we get information from City Hall, we'll bring it to the Sites and Facilities Committee. Also, updates on the bond and everything. So I really want to make sure that that committee, keeps everybody updated on the academy and where we are construction-wise.
Michelle, are you okay? Yeah, okay. Thank you. Teresa?
Thank you. Senior moment. Oh, concerning the referendum coming up, is there a groundswell building, hopefully, for a positive result? Because I understand we have to have not just a positive vote, but 15% of the voters turning out, which I don't know what that number is.
6,000.
6,000, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cooper. So I can tell you there are multiple strategies to encourage voter participation. The mayor's office is engaging in one that I think is probably going to be most influential. The mayor's office, my office, will be doing a joint op-ed for the entire community. The mayor's office, City Hall, my understanding is they will also be posting things to their own website and pushing the word out. It's a strategy, I think, as we get closer to the June 7th date. I think they're choosing to get, as we wait until we get closer to that date. And then there's also, we have some groups in Danbury, independent of the district, that is also informing our staff about the referendum. So our teachers union has taken this on to help spread the word, and our administrative union, my understanding, is also joining in that as well. So we do have some momentum in that regard, and again, just getting out and spreading the word about the referendum and how it can be beneficial to our lives. So thank you for that question.
And excuse me, but we also have quite a few community groups that are doing things to inform parents about the referendum and how important it is. So we're not all alone by ourselves. We have a lot of people that's out there that want to make sure that this moves forward in a positive way.
Thank you for sharing, that's good. And if there are no other questions, I just have one more item as an update, and that is, and now I think it's about to turn into a question, and that is the Strategic Plan Board of Ed workshop scheduled for tomorrow night. The two goals that we were hoping to accomplish for tomorrow night, if the board recalls in our last workshop, we had agreed to schedule a follow-up meeting in which the board can have an opportunity to not only work on its own goals, to help support, complement the strategic plan, and help us realize our POG vision, but also identify a strategy in which you can extract goals from the strategic plan to focus your superintendent goals. And given the members that are not here with us this evening, I don't know if everyone's going to be available for an in-person meeting tomorrow. So Lauren, I'm not sure how you want to handle it. I'll just end it there. And just remind everyone we have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow night, but I don't know what that participation is going to look like. So I just want to share with the board on how they'd like to proceed.
Could I? Because we have talked about this for a while, and it's a part of the strategic planning workshop, and we as board members are also doing a part of the board, the superintendent evaluation as far as goals that the board came up with. And my understanding, there was 7 goals or 6 goals that we need to talk about tomorrow. So I encourage everyone, and I know there's a lot of things going on, to please tomorrow, if you can't stay for the full session, I think it would be, to me, you're going to talk about goals, talk about the superintendent and strategic planning, to be here and not do it on the computer would be a lot better, to me, better. A little bit more understanding for the information. But I'm not a chairperson, so that's my suggestion is, as far as I can see it, those that can make it, we come here tomorrow and do the workshop.
So I definitely agree that in person is much better. I do know last time we had several members that couldn't make it, and right now, speaking with Kevin and having information, we probably will have about 1/3 of the board that won't be able to make it tomorrow. Correct? About, we're figuring?
If it's in person and given our participation this evening, that's what it's looking like, yes.
Yeah, so that's the only reason we're having this question. Do we postpone it and do it when we have a better chance of having more of the board here? Because we prefer not to have a hybrid. We prefer to have everybody here. But that's kind of, I guess we should probably do kind of like.
What about this? Because to me, this is a part of the superintendent evaluation and to talk about the 7 goals that the committee came up with.
Right.
Okay, to discuss and to see if we can move that in line with what the superintendent goals are. So we're not really pushing, but if we could postpone this maybe another week.
Okay.
Because I don't know everybody else's situation.
I don't think they can cover it because we quarantined for 10 days.
Would it be too late to reschedule, Mr. Walker?
Yeah. I don't think a week would do it.
I don't know when the
Is
other
there?
participants are available, but I can work on, I can speak with the person who's gonna facilitate. If it's not that person, certainly we'll be able to find someone else. But I don't think Dr. Ramos will be available. But if not tomorrow, I don't think he's gonna be available. But he assured us we can find someone else before, so we'll have to work on that. I'm just not exactly sure when they'll be available.
Can I ask who here can attend?
So just the 23rd, that's just the date, 23rd or whatever date. The 25th of our regular board meeting, right? And after June, we're not having any board meetings.
From your mouth.
I just had a suggestion.
Go for it.
Just, I hate saying when I was on the board before, but when I was on the board before, we used to do a lot of the committee meetings and stuff the same day as the board, the regular board meeting, because people typically blocked out a Wednesday, and the staff, people already here already, so if they're killing that whole day, if we could, and I just don't know how long the meeting's gonna be, or the workshop's gonna be, if it was 5 to something.
Or we could do 5:30.
You know, I'm just saying, something like that to, for the interest of everybody's time, not to, because I just realized the system of getting the invitations is a lot different. I might be just an old guy trying to figure it out, but I went on my Google calendar and I saw these dots, and I'm like, what the hell is this? So I press on it, I'm like, this meeting, that, I didn't even know there was a meeting last night. And I'm like, so I'm something wrong with my system, but I was just, get the night people are here, certainly bring some food in, that's always an attraction, and just do it, because most people just put aside that Wednesday night.
Right.
And it's, okay, Wednesday night, you get there in time, do what we can do, knock out a committee meeting or a workshop before the regular meeting, so it's not, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. I mean,
Monday
Zoom or
night,
whatever.
right.
And I agree.
I agree.
But to me, what we need, the evaluation committee and the strategic planning, we need at least an hour and a half, okay? So if we're gonna do it before a board meeting,
5 to 6:30.
5:30. 5:30.
Little food, little
okay,
refreshments.
so we can get, if you can,
I will work on it,
if a
absolutely.
facilitator, if he can do it, then that'll be fine with me.
Okay.
So this workshop is part
So
of
it would be our
the
next board
superintendent's
meeting,
evaluation
but we
committee?
would start at 5:30.
Okay, perfect.
Which give us 90 minutes before the meeting, and I will speak to the facilitator and see if we can.
That's
Because I
cool.
think we
mean,
were-
that night, I was gonna tell Rachel that was the one night that I might not be able to make, but.
Well, we should definitely have it that night then.
I needed to go.
Keep it short.
It's a tough
I thought
room.
I'd let you-
And we'll be in person.
Yes, in
Okay.
person,
Yeah.
absolutely.
This can't be done.
So we will work on that. Thank you. And that concludes the superintendent's report. Thank you.
Thank you. Any information from the board?
Not information, but I would like to propose an amendment or an addition to our agenda, which under FOIA we can do with a 2/3 vote. The purpose is to put on the agenda and accept, fortunately and unfortunately, my letter of resignation. I'm seeking my party's endorsement to run for judge of probate. And pursuant to the canons of judicial ethics that apply to candidates and people who hold that office, you may not hold other elected office. So I cannot run for judge of probate or even seek the nomination while simultaneously serving on this board. So unfortunately, I would make a motion that we amend the agenda to add that to the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Second.
All those in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
So moved.
I turned to Kai, I'm sorry, I apologize, I did not bring enough copies of the letter for everybody, but I did give the original to Lauren and I'll read it for the record. It was passed up for the secretary. It's addressed to Rachel, dated today, May 11, 2022. Madam Chair, I will soon be seeking my party's nomination to run for the office of Judge of Probate. As the rules associated with running for Judge of Probate prohibit candidates from holding other elected office, I ask that the board accept my resignation from the Danbury Board of Education effective upon the adjournment of the board's regular meeting on May 11th, 2022. I want to personally thank every member of the board for your hard work, respect, and kindness. I'm confident our students are in good hands moving forward. I will watch the development and opening of our new career academy with excitement. It's been an honor to serve on the board and a privilege to serve with every member of this board. While I will very soon not be a member, never hesitate to ask for my help, for I will always support our students, teachers, administrators, and this board. And I have to say, after tonight's meeting, it's bittersweet leaving because the students we have are amazing. The principals we have are amazing, and all of our staff. And that's a wonderful testament to the city and this district and our administrators. I'm really proud to have been on this board. I want to thank everybody here. I want to thank Rachel, who's done a really nice job leading the board this spring, and everybody here for being so kind and being collegial and professional and working so hard. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Appreciate it.
So now,
I
do we
think
vote?
we can't not accept it, but we probably should vote since it's a motion.
Okay.
All those in favor of Joe's resignation, please say aye.
Aye.
It's accepted. Thank you, Joe. We appreciate everything, and good luck.
Thank you.
I don't have a board chairperson's report, but
Does anybody have any other information on committee reports or anything else they want to share?
I'll be very quick. We had a curriculum committee one night this week. At my age, I forget the nights. So one night we had a curriculum committee meeting one night. I think it was an excellent committee meeting, and the information that was brought to us was excellent. And I certainly want to thank Kara and her staff for doing what they do and bring the information to us in a form that I can understand. Okay, and I tag everything to age because it is age. So I'm not gonna never disqualify my age. But on top of that, we had a community relation committee meeting. I think it was last night, and that was an excellent committee meeting. So I want to thank the leadership of both the committees for having these meetings, and I know it's tiresome because it's tiresome to me. And I invite all the board members in. I see that our new board members that can at a particular time can participate. We're all not going to be there 100%, but this is how you sort of get to learn and understand what's going on in those committees and how we operate. My last thing is, and if I'm out of order, stop me. I'll put that to age. Since I've been on the board, when we get stuff like this from a person, it always goes to the superintendent and let the superintendent give it out to the board members. And I was a little offended that it was handed out to us first, because that is the procedure since I've been on the board. So if things have changed, I don't want to get this type of information during the open session. Let me read and digest this at the end when I get home and can digest it. I heard what the young lady said, okay? And I just want to look into it, make sure that when we operate under the right procedure. Thank you.
I was not sure how that went. I didn't know. This is, so I wasn't sure what to.
No reflection on.
No, I understand. I just didn't know what the deal was, basically.
It's the first time I've ever seen that happen.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. I didn't know they
And the
had a
season board
handout.
members on this side didn't take it. Put that on the record. No, I'm kidding.
Be quiet.
But going forward, now we're all up to
Yeah,
speed, I
typically it
guess.
goes, when they say something goes into record, the copy can go into record, and then if the superintendent goes to him, he sees it, you know, because we don't know if the information's accurate or whatever it is, you know.
Is that maybe something that should be added to the little
Oh, you mean
thing in the announcement? Yeah.
Our announcements in the
No, I just think
bylaws, you might have to amend. the
I've never
bylaws.
seen that happen.
But Lauren is saying maybe as part of our public participation notice,
Right.
we should include something like that if you have anything that wants to be
Gotcha.
shared with the board.
Just to remind people.
You might have to run that through policy.
Because it's
just add the
disturbing.
bylaw.
Okay.
It's disturbing when you're trying to concentrate on a meeting and trying to read something that someone is passing.
Well, it's also not in the board's best interest to have people from the public walking around here and hand that
Thank
stuff out in the middle.
Okay?
Okay, thank you, Gladys. Anybody else have anything? I just wanted to say that DSABC is having their breakfast on June 2nd, and if anybody is interested in more information on that, I can go ahead and forward you the information.
You have a motion to adjourn?
I was just gonna say,
Oh,
okay.
yeah,
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, have a great night.